just the noise of training, but the sound of history shifting. What if dozens of American fighters, gleaming under the European sky, didn't just represent steel and technology, but a promise? That is exactly what happened when the United States deployed its latest fighter aircraft, the F-15EX Eagle II, to Powid's Air Base in Poland. And for Moscow, this was no ordinary sight. Let's set the stage. For months, tensions in Eastern Europe have been climbing. Drones crossing borders, missiles threatening cities, and the war in Ukraine showing no signs of ending. Poland, sitting right on NATO's eastern flank, has become the front line of Europe's security. And then, with almost cinematic timing, dozens of US F-15EX jets touched down on Polish soil. The message was unmistakable. The shield of NATO is not only intact, it just got sharper. But here is the real question: what could Russia possibly field that comes close to matching a sky filled with American eagles? The F-15EX is not just another airplane. It is the rebirth of a legend. The F-15 first took to the skies in the 1970s and quickly became known as the undefeated champion of air combat. Over 100 aerial victories with 0 losses. Now, with the EX version, the Eagle has evolved into something far more lethal. Inside its cockpit is a digital battle space, modern avionics, networked data links, and the latest electronic warfare suites. Its radar, an advanced ESA system, can spot, track, and lock onto multiple targets simultaneously. Its weapons load is jaw-dropping, up to 22 air-to-air missiles. Yes, you heard that right, 22. No other fighter jet in the world can carry that kind of payload. Not even stealth jets like the F-35. Stealth may be sexy, but sometimes raw firepower wins the day. That's the secret of the F-15EX. It doesn't try to be invisible. It doesn't have to. Its job is to dominate the skies through sheer strength, unmatched radar coverage, and overwhelming missile salvos. Think of it as the heavyweight boxer of NATO's air fleet. Not the most graceful, but the one nobody wants to stand toe-to-toe with. So why Poland? Why now? The official answer is joint training and operational testing. The Pentagon wants to see how the F-15EX performs in Europe's airspace, working alongside NATO allies. Pilots and ground crews will run it through scenarios: interceptions, patrols, precision strikes. But the timing tells another story. Just days earlier, Poland shot down Russian drones that had strayed into its airspace. NATO even activated Article 4 for consultations. And right after that, American Eagles arrived by the dozens. Coincidence? Hardly. Could this deployment be Washington's way of saying, if you test Poland again, you won't just meet patriots on the ground, you'll meet eagles in the sky? Let's compare. What does Russia have to counter? Its most modern frontline fighters are the Su-35 and, of course, the much-hyped Su-57 stealth jet. But numbers tell the story. Russia has only a handful of Su-57s, barely enough to fill a single squadron. Meanwhile, the F-15EX comes not in 1 or 2, but dozens, and each one brings a weapons load that can wipe the sky clean. Sure, Russian media will boast about super maneuverability, about Cobra maneuvers and airshow tricks, but in a real fight, when an F-15EX has already locked onto you from 150 miles away with an AIM-120 missile, no acrobatic twist will save you. It's like bringing a ballet dancer into a boxing match. Elegant? Yes. Effective? Not really. Maybe Russia hopes to counter with sheer numbers, but can older jets and dwindling production lines really keep up with America's latest Eagles? For Poland, this deployment is more than military hardware. It's psychological. It tells the Polish public, you are not alone. It tells Moscow, NATO's skies are patrolled, and not just by stealth jets like the F-35, but by workhorses that can fight all day, every day, and carry enough missiles to make any adversary think twice. And for NATO, the message is clear. Flexibility matters. The alliance is not putting all its bets on stealth alone. Yes, the F-35 dominates headlines, but the F-15EX proves there is still immense value in upgrading proven platforms with cutting-edge technology. The Eagle II is not just surviving in the 21st century, it is thriving. Of course, some skeptics ask, is this just show? Is the US trying to sell more jets to Europe, using Poland as the stage? After all, Boeing, the manufacturer, certainly benefits from showcasing the F-15EX in real operational conditions. But let's be honest, military power and political symbolism often go hand in hand. For Warsaw, the benefit is clear: experience, integration, and deterrence. For Washington, it's reassurance and influence. For Boeing, well, let's just say the PR couldn't be better. Could this all be part of a bigger game? Russia distracting NATO with drones, while America answers with Eagles, only to reveal a larger strategy at play? Because let's not forget, Russia plays its own game of chess. Could Moscow be using drone incursions as a way to force NATO to spend resources, to spread forces thin across the eastern flank? Possibly. But here's the catch. If that was the plan, deploying F-15EX just flipped the board. Instead of draining NATO, it re-energized the alliance with cutting-edge firepower. So if this was meant as a trap, it might just have backfired. So what's the payoff? The arrival of F-15EX jets in Poland shows three things at once. First, that the US is committed, truly committed, to defending its allies. Second, that NATO is flexible, combining stealthy F-35s with missile-laden Eagles for maximum effect. And third, that Russia's attempts to intimidate with drones or shows of force may actually be strengthening NATO instead of weakening it. At Powid's Air Base, when those Eagles touched down, Poland saw more than just planes. They saw a promise that in the storm of today's conflicts, the sky above them would not be empty. The question now is, how will Russia respond? With new fighters, or just more headlines? Because when it comes down to it, dozens of American F-15EX sitting in Poland speak louder than any speech, louder than any drone, and perhaps even louder than a Zircon missile test in the Barents Sea. They are a reminder that America's air power is not just about the future, it's about the here and now. So what do you think? Can Russia truly field a counterforce strong enough to match dozens of F-15EX? Or is this deployment proof that NATO, led by the US, already holds the upper hand in Europe's skies?